I have already floated one notice on your WhatsApp group. Hope everybody has received. Many people have sent their groups, but still there are some people who have not formed their groups, like Monica Dongre, Abhishek Saha, Gaurav Shinde, Govinda, Om, Rahul Samudrawad, Sahil Nagrale, Saurabh Zaparade, and Suraj Sherekar. So I request you all to form the groups, at least 4 to 5, and let me discuss few things before going ahead. That please note that, see, due to the lockdown, we are not here. We are doing the classwork from our home. So, so it is necessary to form the groups. So later, maybe one day, Professor Dhotri will talk with you. He will guide you, and even maybe it may be possible that we all teachers uh, will talk you in some net meeting or maybe in a Teams meeting, and will try to give you some general idea that how to select particular topic, what how to select the importance of the topic, why to select the means why to do something called as a literature survey. We call it as a literature survey. See, when we do some project, it should be on some problem or issue. See, in software industry, we are in college. We don't know what is happening in the software production in that area. We don't know that thing. But if we search in proper way, for example, if you search papers, published papers, proper papers like IEEE paper, ACM paper, or Elsevier paper, or Science Direct papers. So we shall float the list, and you can download few papers, and you will get the idea that in which area. Say there are many areas like automation is there, real-time applications are there, Android applications are there, big data or data science is there, analytics is there. So lot many areas are there, and people write, those people who are working in institutes like colleges or universities, or people who are working in industry, they write paper uh, on the area where they are facing some problem or issue, and they try to find some solution. Means they write something about the problem as well as they write something about the solution. So on that topic, there might be multiple papers. Means what? Same problem can have multiple solutions. So you will try to learn that how to get the idea that what is happening in industry, what problems are being faced by the software or IT people in industry, and how they are handling it. So you can take the advantage of these groups and you can learn the things. See, we cannot learn everything in the classroom. 1 minute, sorry. Hello. हाँ हाँ हाँ, तो 1 वाजता पीरियड चालू आहे. So I hope you are listening. Means you are able to listen me, but you are understanding me what I am talking. See, in one meeting I cannot talk because we have to cover the points also in our agenda. So you form the group seriously. See, there are some people who ask me that whether these groups will be continued in a final year. See, these groups are not going to be continued in final year project groups. That will be different thing. We are not continuing same groups, but through this you can arrange, you can learn the team working. Means see, it is important to do something in team. So see, leadership is not important. To work as a team member in a team, to address something, to address some problem, to work in particular area, specific area, is important thing. So what I suggest is that you form the groups, you arrange your own meetings, think about, means you can arrange your own meetings through Zoom or maybe Teams, or maybe you can use same WebEx is there, a lot many, or Google Meet is there. You can use that and you can discuss about the industry problems. You try to decide your topic, and then Later, there will be display of the guides. So in communication with your guide, you have to do some, maybe some mini project or some assignment kind thing. So definitely, Dhotri sir and our people will address you. But I'm just giving you, I'm trying to remove some confusion because few people ask me about uh, will these groups. So Sonal Golar is not able to see my PPT. So Sonal, are you able to see PPT right now? You can.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
हेलो
हाँ बोलो.
हेलो सर, आपकी पीपीटी मतलब उसमें ब्लर दिखता है सब कुछ सर, पता नहीं क्यों.
नहीं, ये पहला स्लाइड है, शायद सेकंड स्लाइड नहीं दिखेगा. 1 मिनट. अब ये दिखता है बराबर सोनल जी?
नहीं.
Okay, I will stop this PPT and then we shall.
ये कुछ भी नहीं दिख रहा सर, ऐसे हमेशा ही हो रहा है सर, पता नहीं क्यों.
Okay, I am starting that PPT again. आपने आपका जो आप कौन सा ऐप यूज कर रहे हैं, उसको अपडेट किया क्या सोनल जी आपने अपना ऐप जो है टीम्स का?
हाँ सर, मतलब सर पार्टनर के लेक्चर में भी दिखता है, टीसी के लेक्चर में भी पीपीटी दिखता है.
नहीं,
आपके
आप
लेक्चर
क्या
में
करो,
नहीं दिखता, पता नहीं
नहीं
क्यों.
मैं क्या करता हूँ,
प्रॉब्लम
मैं
होता है.
वीडियो भी ऑन करता हूँ ना, मैं वीडियो भी ऑन करता हूँ.
नहीं, उससे नहीं होता सर प्रॉब्लम कुछ भी.
तो आप एक बार ऐप करके देखिए या फिर ब्राउजर यूज करके देखिए. आप इफ यू आर यूजिंग लैपटॉप, यू कैन ट्राई फॉर अ ब्राउजर आल्सो. क्रोम, यूज क्रोम. अभी दिख रहा है आपको स्लाइड?
एक मिनट सर, जो बोल्ड होता है ना वो पूरा ब्लर दिखता है.
अच्छा ठीक है, मैं पूछता हूँ लोगों से क्या है करके, मैं आपको लेक्चर होने के बाद मैं बता दूँ.
अगर सर भी वीडियो ऑन करके पीपीटी ऑन रखता है सर, उनके लेक्चर में दिखता है सब.
अच्छा कौन से सर?
भगत सर.
ये कम्युनिकेशन स्किल.
हाँ.
ठीक है, मैं ट्राई करूंगा उसको सॉल्व करने का. तो मेरा ऐसा कहना है कि भाई दिस ग्रुप्स विल नॉट बी कंटिन्यू एज अ फाइनल ईयर प्रोजेक्ट ग्रुप्स बिकॉज working some other. In this third year, you are going to learn about the importance of the teamwork. Second thing is that whatever project or coding you are doing at your end, you should register your account on GitHub. Perhaps people might be aware about the GitHub. Even people might be aware about the LinkedIn. तो क्या करना है, GitHub पे आप जो भी कोड करते हैं रोज करो, 1 महीने बाद करो, हफ्ते में करो, या इफ यू अपडेट इट, you try to learn what is the meaning of the push and pull. You can pull code from the GitHub or you can push code from the your local machine. तो और क्या करो कि आपके जो फ्रेंड्स है, टेल देम टू फॉलो योर GitHub अकाउंट. तो उसमें एक डैशबोर्ड रहता है, उसमें भाई ये कोड किसने यूज किया है वो दिखता है. If the person who has a code which is important and people are using it, then your presence will be noted by the other people. For example, in foreign countries, they check your YouTube account, they check your LinkedIn account, they check your GitHub account if you are a software professional or if you want a job in software field. तो सोनल जी शायद आपका जो माइक है ना ऑन ऑफ हो रहा है, पता नहीं क्या हो रहा. तो एनीवे, तो अगर आपके GitHub से अगर पुल ज्यादा है तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि यू हैव रिटन और यू हैव डन समथिंग व्हिच इज इंपॉर्टेंट एंड पीपल आर डाउनलोडिंग योर कोड एट योर एंड, एट देयर एंड, एंड दे आर यूजिंग इट. तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि आपके पास में स्किल है. तो फॉरेन में क्या होता है कि आपका जो मीडिया जो है इसके ऊपर का जो स्टैट मे बी यू मे इसको जज एंड देन दे आस्क यू सम क्वेश्चंस. आपने तो अपना जो बायोडाटा है you have already given or submitted particular falana company, and they think what you are doing in background. So how you are what is your specialty, which area, maybe say Linux backend, cloud, or maybe Java programming or Android programming, whatever. They learn through that background study of social means whatever your log is there on social media, they learn it. And your value means your means you become employable from their point of view if you have something. लेकिन अगर आपका कुछ भी नहीं है तो what how they will judge? See, every student has 80% or 75% marks. That is not a problem. Then everybody knows Java, C, and something Python or something introductory level. So if you do something and if you post your code on GitHub, then that will be visible to everybody, international community or software industry. And even if you have some account in like Naukri.com or maybe I think you might be knowing about Naukri.com, and lot many sites are there. I don't want to go there, but you become visible. So from third year itself, you start making your presence on the internet. I don't want to say that you just put any remark and comments on Facebook or something, not like that. Create your impression on internet or maybe social media like GitHub. GitHub is not a social media, and show that you are someone who is interested or doing something in maybe data analytics or data science or maybe some kind of typical kind of coding, like say virtualization or cloud or Amazon like thing. So somewhere there are some traces and those people can collect it. So that is important. So through this group, you do those activities, whatever I'm suggesting you. Try to learn what is a pull and pull activity and push activity. You can use command prompt of your command prompt means desktop or whatever. Even you can download the apps for GitHub on your phone, and you can also pull or push code on the GitHub site. Actually, it is a repository, and you can maintain the version. I don't know how many people are you are aware about the versions, but suppose you are using the Teams or say Zoom. What is happening every 5 days or maybe 10 days, the Google Play Store is detecting version of your application, and it is automatically updating your application. What is happening here? As a user, you are not taking any key role, but applications, their versions, their compatibility is detected by the system, backend system, and relevant patch grades are without existing environment. So same thing happens with Windows 10 also or Windows 7 also. So many times what you have to do, many times you have manually update certain things, but sometimes the automation relieves you from checking the version and latest upgrade and then downloading that manually and then upgrading your system. So you can through GitHub, you can learn the version. You can suppose today you have written some code and you have uploaded, and later maybe after 1 month or 2 months you got some idea, so you upgraded your code. So your original copy is there as it is, and after 2 months you have updated certain part of that code, maybe some procedures or some functions in that, or maybe look and feel of your GUI, and you upgrade your code on the GitHub. So what will happen? Whatever the multiple copies of your software versions are there, everything will be maintained on the GitHub, and that thing you can learn through it. If you do it simply by watching YouTube video or some lectures like mine or some others lecture or some knowledgeable say Hyderabad style things, one cannot learn. If you do, then you can learn. So that is there. So utilize your time in lockdown at least and discuss among yourself on technical issues like industry issues, that what is happening like that. Think about the latest development in hardware, software, facilities or utilities. As I suggested last time, that try to get 3 or 4 certifications. You have summer and winter, 2 semesters. Most of the courses are 7 days, 15 days like. So don't worry about spending money if you are adding something for yourself. See, are you listening me? Okay, I hope that you are listening me. But don't think that कि ये free में होता है क्या? Don't do like that. If there is some important course and if you are really interested in that field, suppose someone wants website development, or someone wants responsive websites. Responsive website means what? Suppose I am using laptop term, then same has a different look and feel. But if I use something like a mobile phone, see, if I hold my mobile phone in this position, so I will get different view of same site, different visualization. But if I hold my phone like this, so the site will be automatically change its layout. It will not affect the features of that site or menus and basic layout, but it will respond as per the display. If like this, it will it will respond in different way. If it is, or there can be some tabs which are in square. For example, this laptop, whatever I am using, is a landscape, but there are some tabs which are square, just like square. Length and width is same. So you cannot write different websites or different display dimensions. So you can learn that and you discuss it. And every time it is not necessary to do everything, but if you discuss, then you will understand what is there and what softwares or what are the ready-made tools which are available to build such sites. So don't worry, don't think in terms of the pre and paid and all that. There might be some course for 3 months or 2 months. If you are really interested in that area, register it, pay it, and get some certificate. It will definitely add value addition to you, as well as you know that in our college there is a procedure that if you have some certification of paper publication or some participation in some exhibition like pursuit like thing conducted by different colleges, you get some incentives. That thing is there, and uh, due to the exercise, you can build certain skills. For example, in face-to-face college, you interact with the in CESA and you talk with different people. You build your personality. You do different jobs like advise class to class, advertise some workshop. So that thing you can do through these groups. So arrange different meetings. Try to learn how to share the desktop, how to share the PPTs, how to share the code through those tools like Zoom and all that. Think about the different types of web applications. I have just talked about the GitHub, version management. Think about that because you will be software engineer. So you have to think that how to automatically provide the updates. For example, Net Protector is there. This is the antivirus, right? Wikil is there. Lot many antiviruses are there. So once we purchase from the customer, or sorry, vendor, and if there is upgrade, that vendor do not come to our home, right? He provides through some means. So there is some website like location, and through that website, everybody, the person may be moving anywhere in the India or abroad, but he gets latest updates and patches. So how this is done in backend, that you have to learn. So learn through such groups. I don't know, but I suggest you. Many times I have suggested you visit the FTP site, college FTP site. Go and see the code. Different codes are there regarding your practicals. Try to learn what is FTP, what is anonymous FTP, what is the limitation of FTP. See, there are different ways to upload and download files. You can use WhatsApp also to share files. That is not a problem. But when you talk about the protocols like FTP, Telnet, SMTP, then learn about what happens in FTP. What is SCP, Secure File Copy, or SSH, Secure Socket Shell. So learn that thing. So FTP is the there you have. So learn through. If you do it, then you will be learning. So download some tools like WinSCP or PuTTY at your end, and use your browser, because browser is something you can access almost all types of the applications. The applications which you access through browser are called as the web apps. Please, this is very simple definition, note it. The applications which can be accessed through browser. It may be Chrome browser or it may be Mozilla or anything, are called as a web applications. So website is not a simple example of the web application, but you can take the example of Team, Microsoft Team or Zoom. For example, you can download that application on your desktop or mobile phone and you can interact with the people. But if you don't download, you can use your browser and you can log into proper site and then you can do same thing. Means you can independently download some application and you can do certain things, or without downloading particular application, you can use browser only and you can interact with the world. So that thing you have to understand what is difference in that and how everything is done in browser also and in particular app also. If you have an app, what is the limitation? Every time you have to upgrade the versions of the app that is there. But if you have a browser, you don't care about it. So just learn about what is called as the client server computing and all that and cloud and all that. Just so that was my objective. So definitely I will upload a notice. I will take dates from you, and that time Dr. Dhotre and our staff will interact with you regarding the selection of topic or area, and then you have to work on your own. Definitely, we will be here to give you hint and guide that what to do in those project groups. But think that through this group you have to do something. Simply not sending the names and groups. Like anyway, I have just read some name like Om Tekade and Govinda and Sahil and all that. Please tell your friends that they have to immediately form the groups and send the group form to Mr. S.M. Ghodki. Later will be giving you typical topic. So now I will continue. So this is the agenda. Here I am going to take you one example of synthesis attributes and one example of inherited attributes. We are trying to understand what is a SDD and SDT. T means translation, D means definition, and we shall think the concept of the translation schemes. So let us go ahead. So as I told you that translation means how to do the translations. There are three methods: rule-based method, parse tree method, and oblivious method. So in rule-based method, see what we are doing here in SDT, we are learning how to translate source code directly into object code or target code. That's it. So there are three ways to translate: rule-based, tree-based, and oblivious. Now, rule-based methods are implemented into compilers. Please note this thing. That's why in beginning, I told you that SDT is itself a technology. It is not necessary that every compiler, it may be Java or C or Pascal compiler, where SDT is implemented or not. That is a different thing. We are learning it independently. How translation is done from source code to target. So rule-based method is nothing but traditional compiler type thing. So in traditional compiler, lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code analysis. So that is a traditional way. So whatever the compiler developer is there, he has to implement that SDT method into that compiler while designing compiler itself. That is the difference. Now, what is about the tree-based method? So this method works on compile time. So we shall see what is the exact difference in compile time and run time. Compile time means what? If there is a source code, there are phases. So we are doing many things, many test tasks, many passes. So whatever happens until the actual code is generated is called as a compile time. मतलब सोर्स कोड से टारगेट कोड बनाने के बीच में हम लोग जो भी कुछ करते हैं, that is called as a compile time. So tree-based methods are used during compile time. That is that. Now we shall talk about what is exactly the tree-based method, but through some examples you will understand it. And oblivious method is used only to choose the evaluation order. of the semantics rule. We know that what is a production rule, what is a semantic rule, and we have to traverse that AST, annotated syntax tree, in particular order, maybe by using a pre-order method or post-order method, or maybe TFS like algorithm, depth first search algorithm. So if we have AST has attributes, some values are there. So if we traverse it, so the way of traversing gives us the evaluation of the or meaning of the statement. So anyway, we shall go ahead. So there are two definitions in SDD. One is called as a S attributed definition. Second is called as a L attributed definition. So see the table. So on one side there is a production rule, on another side there is a semantic rule, corresponding semantic rule. There can be multiple semantic rule for single production rule. That is different thing. But if all the attributes in semantic rule, for example, e.val or t.val, so if these all attributes are synthesized attributes, then we call it as a S attributed definition. S attributed definition or SDD. And if all the attributes are inherited attributes, then we call it as a L attributed definition or SDD. Now let us take this example. This is a simple grammar where 6 production rules are there. Now we have to define S attributed definition. We have to design SDD for this grammar. So grammar is given. Now here 3 non-terminals are there. 2 terminals are there, 0 and 1, and 6 production rules are there. Now we have to design a SDD for it. And we have to design SDD for S attributed. We have to design S attributed definition for the SDD. So this is clear. Now what we have to do? So let us see. So, but try to understand first what is this grammar. Actually, this grammar converts binary representation into decimal. So if you have a binary number, it may be fractional or integer, or it may have a decimal part or integer part, and it may have fractional part. We should be able to convert that binary number into decimal number. So this is the task of this grammar. So depending on the task, we design the grammar that is there. So for example, L.L is there. So L can be a line or whatever segment you can say, or it may be sentence or block. So dot is representing decimal point. B is representing a Boolean, means a 0 or 1 value. So we shall see the example. Now let us say there is a input like this 100.101. So this is a binary representation. Now if you convert it into decimal, the value will be, everybody knows how to convert the binary number into decimal. So its value will be 4.625. That is a decimal value. So this grammar is same thing. It is doing same thing. What it is doing, that's why it is called as a syntax directed translation. If you have some input, it will evaluate it. It will evaluate its meaning like that. It doesn't mean that it is always some expression or a mathematical expression. It is not like that. Even if then else case or call, jump, loop can, or for, that can be there. So definitely yes is a start symbol. So s dot val will be the attribute, synthesize attribute, and we have to compute. See, if we parse this statement, what is statement? Statement is 100.101. If you parse by using this grammar rules, then you will get something called as a parse tree. and then we have to attach values to that parse tree. It becomes AST. And then we have to traverse that tree to get the meaning. So what will be the meaning? Meaning of the 100.101 is, in terms of decimal, that is a 4.625. That is the meaning. That's what we are doing, translation. So let us see how the S attributed definition looks like. This is an example of S attributed definition. I hope you are listening me anyway. I hope you got this problem. The question is that what is the SDD for to synthesize the value of binary numbers from start symbol? Yes is a start symbol. So s.val is the attribute, synthesize attribute, and this is a given input or string of tokens. So you just take the screenshot of this problem. Now this is the traditional manual way. This is how we convert binary number into decimal number. So 2 raised to power n, 2 raised to power n minus 1, like that. And if it is a fractional part like .101, then 2 raised to power minus 1, 2 raised to power minus 2, and 2 raised to power minus 3. In this way you have to compute. So you know how to compute it. So you have to multiply that by the 2 raised to power n or n minus n. So in this way we get the value 4.625 for the input. Now next slide will tell you how to write the SDD, S attributed SDD, syntax directed definition, for this purpose. I will just 1 minute. I will go ahead. So just go through this slide. There is nothing. I will talk about it. It is simply the example of S attributed definition. See here, S is giving you L dot L, first row. Then you are writing the semantic rule like this. S dot val is equal to L dot int plus L dot fractional. Why plus? You see the previous slide. You see the previous slide like this. Because even though 2 raised to power minus 2 and 3 is there, we have to add into integer part. So that's why L dot int plus L dot fractional. Fractional part is there. Then second row is there, S dot L. So S dot val is equal to L dot int. Means what is there? It is representing same production rule in a little different notation. Whatever we do manually, we have seen in last slide, same thing is here, but in terms of algorithmic approach. So there is a third row is there, L is giving you LB. So 3 semantic rules are there. As I told you in beginning, that a production rule may be associated with corresponding one or more semantic rules. So because it may happen that one semantic rule will not be able to represent the intent or requirement in that particular production rule. So sometimes we may have to write multiple semantic rules for particular production rule. It depends. So here 3 production rules are there. So you take the screenshot. I will talk about it later. But this is the example of a grammar which converts binary into decimal. So in this way, all 6 production rules are there, and corresponding semantic rules are given there. And there is a exponent symbol is there, that is a arrow type thing is there. You know, for example, in a third row, last line, L dot fractional is equal to L dot frac plus B dot val into 1.0 divided by 2.0 into, this is the exponent, L dot length. Length means a exponent length. So length means minus 2 raised to power minus 2 minus 3 like that. So later we shall talk about it. So anyway, you take the screenshot of this example. So they ask only to write the SDD, S attributed SDD for the given grammar. That's it. So we are not working on this example anymore. In same way, see the fourth row and fifth row of this table, SDD. So this is the SDD for the given grammar. Let us go ahead. Now this is another example. So here you have to design a SDD. See, this is a design problem. You have to design the SDD with inherited attributes for a given grammar. Grammar is given, 6 production rules are there, and sentence is also given. That, and you have to draw the dependency graph for this grammar. So for this sentence, sorry, real ID, ID separated by comma. So this is a declaration, like an integer in beginning C program, you declare variables or types of variables. It is a type declaration. So here you have to write the L attributed definition. So 6 production rules are there, DTL, 3 non-terminals, and INT, real, ID. These are the 3 terminal symbols in this grammar. And to distinguish, first identifier ID1, second identifier ID2, third identifier ID3. So you can use it, that notation, to distinguish. And what we have to do, we have to design the SDD inherited attributes or L attributed SDD for this grammar, and then we have to parse this given from that part AST, and then from that AST we have to generate the dependency graph. So this is that example. This is important example. You take the screenshot, or you can later download the slides. Now this is the simple way to represent this. Now dot in means integer. Sorry, in is not that integer, that is input. So T dot type is there. So D giving you TL. So what I want to say is that grammar is represented, production rule is as it is, just like as it is on the semantic side, but you have to use certain attribute. It may be inherited or it may be in a synthesized attribute. So for example, L dot in is an inherited attribute, or T dot type is a synthesized attribute. Now, for example, go for the third row. L is giving you L1 ID. Why L1? Because on LHS left hand side there is one L, and on RHS right hand side there is another L. So to distinguish it, we are using 1. You can use dash also, 1 dash, 2 dash, or 3 dash to distinguish it. Is common occurring terminals or non-terminals. You can use dash, or you can use numbers like 1, 2, 3. And add type is a function, so it calls. So ID dot entry is a something revealed by the lexical analyzer while reading the input. Input, you know what is that? It is given there in a reddish shade. Real ID1, ID2, ID3. So what I want to say is that if there are multiple variables, many variables, different types of variables, synthesized variable attributes or inherited attributes. So every attribute has some value. So when you do your work, you have to put something somewhere. So what you are using? You are using the symbol table. It is called as a symbol table. You keep the value of ID1 somewhere in symbol table. Symbol table knows that where this ID1 is stored into the memory location of that. So symbol table contains lot many things. So this is that function. ID type has two parameters, id dot entry comma l dot in. So this is a function. It has two parameters and it updates entry into the symbol table. So that is not shown here right now. So L1 dot ID comma is there and ID is there. So if this is a production rule, L giving you L1 comma ID, then you are using or you are working on two semantic rules. L1 dot in is equal to L dot in at type in bracket ID dot entry comma L dot in. That is there. See, this is only one example. If you go through one or two examples, you will understand what that's add type and all that. You can write anything. You can write XYZ or that. But if you write a descriptive function name, it will tell you, for example, add type. So from add type, you can easily understand that you are adding that entry into the symbol table. Symbol table is a data structure which is used during compilation. So you can use mod type, modify the data or contents. You can use del type or delete entry. So you should give names to your functions such that it should be descriptive enough that what action or what you are doing, it tells that thing. So add type tells you what you are doing with the symbol table. You are creating new entry into symbol table. Anyway, so you take the screenshot of this. Now this is the definition. I think I have shown already this slide. Annotated syntax tree. AST is nothing but it is a decorated parse tree. Parse tree don't have the attributes. Parse tree with attributes and with proper values of those attributes on proper nodes is called as a AST. So AST, by traversing AST or from AST, we can generate the dependency graph. And by traversing that dependency graph, we get the evaluation order. We shall talk about what is the evaluation order. Now, this is the homework example. You write the definition of what is a dependency graph and give some suitable example. Now, this is the concept. We build first parse tree, then AST, and then dependency graph. So for building a parse tree, we use grammar derivation sequence. We derive that sentence. So this is only for understanding. Now this is a definition. So dependency graph is a directed graph representing the dependencies of several objects towards each other. So that is definition. You can take the screenshot or you can download this slide. Now a dependency graph can contain both types of attributes. Dependency graph can contain synthesized attributes as well as inherited attributes, or there can be a dependency graph only with synthesized attributes or only with inherited attributes. But that depends. That depends on your grammar also. So later you read this. So there can be different types of dependencies. You can Google it. Right now it is not important. Flow dependencies there, anti-dependencies there, output dependencies there, control dependencies there, different types of dependencies are there. This is a sample example I have talked about it. Dependency graph, or you can call it as a flow graph. This is a code written in some Fortran language, or there might be some other language. But this diagram gives you the idea of the flow of information, how it goes. You can later read this slide carefully. You will understand what that circle arrow tells you. Now what I suggest is you that, so whatever the lectures are there, I have already uploaded on the YouTube. I have already uploaded on the FTP I have already uploaded on the Microsoft resources. You download those lectures, you view. See, there is no need to watch complete video. You can just slide it or forward it, and you can only see or watch that part what was missing uh, from your understanding. So you will understand the missing concepts. So that's what I suggest. But many people are not doing this. Nobody is liking my channel. I think at least you should, in third year, you should like my channel and subscribe it anyway. So this is sample grammar. This is the given input statement. 9 plus 5 plus 2 n. N is a next line or enter symbol. Now, how to generate the parse tree? You cannot directly generate a parse tree like this. You should not generate it. Parse tree अपने मन से मत निकालो भाई. You have to use proper derivation sequence to generate or construct a parse tree or syntax tree. For example, whatever this on this slide is exactly, it is a parse tree. It is not. I don't want to say that it is not a parse tree, but parse tree tells you how the meaning is evaluated, how the semantics is done. So semantics means what? Evaluation, meaning evaluation, or identifying the meaning of given statement or construct, programming language construct. So here nodes are there, plus, L is there on the nodes. Leaf nodes are there, 9, 5, 2, and return. Now let us see how technically parse tree is generated. So this is how we generate a parse tree. So you start with the start symbol, that is L. Then you substitute the production rules, and then you generate the given sentence. So lastly, you are generating 9 plus 5 plus 2 into return. So if you observe closely on left hand side, so whatever the derivation sequence is there, 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, like same thing is followed into the your parse tree. So this is the exactly required standard parse tree. So definitely it is matching with previous tree also. Previous tree was not wrong. It is a short description, but this is a detailed parse tree. Every terminal as well as non-terminal, it is represented in particular sequence. See here, level, you know the level of tree, root level, leaf level, middle level, n-1 level, n-2 level. So whatever the generation of non-terminals are there, capital letters, they are corresponding to your derivation on the right hand side. So that is what you have to learn. So from this parse tree, I'm just ending. Too much time is we are near to finish the time. So for example, from this parse tree, we can generate the AST, annotated syntax tree. So what is here? What is difference? So what is happening here that every node like F and T and E, we are assigning some attribute. And you know, we have seen already the scheme of this grammar SDD, syntax directed definition, that E.val, T.val, F.val is there. And we have substituted proper values on that proper level of that node. Levels are there, like leaf level, root level, and some intermediate levels. So we start evaluating from bottom to up. So in this way, we compute value 16. 9 plus 5 plus 2 is equal to 16, like that, because we traverse in that way. And that is the way of, that is what we call it as the evaluation order. So you see the dotted lines. You download this slide, perhaps in mobile it is not possible to see the dotted lines, and you see the arrow. So how you are traversing that tree. So it may be pre-order, it may be post-order. It depends on the types of attribute, whether it is a synthesized or whether it is a inherited attribute. And if there are mixed attributes, then you have to go for the dependency graph. So dependency graph, you have to traverse in topological order, topological sort. So learn about topological sort. So this is a given AST, corresponding AST for given syntax tree. Now just I will refresh what is synthesis attribute. If the attribute value of parent is determined from attribute values of the children. If you compute the value of parent from children values, it's called as a synthesis attribute. And inherited attribute is there. If you compute the value of parent, that particular node from right sibling or left sibling or values of parent, then it is called as an inherited attribute. I think you know what is the meaning of the inherit. So inherited attributes or value of the inherited attributes of children can depend on both left or right siblings. Sibling is a subtree, left side tree or right side subtree of particular node. So this is something called as an inherited attribute. So inherited attributes can be computed from values of the parent or values of the left or right sibling और चिल्ड्रेन. सो इसका वैल्यू हम ऊपर वाले से और नीचे वाले से भी निकालते हैं एवरी टाइम. Now just go through this slide. I am just closing because time is over. Evaluation order. For example, if you have S attributed definition, we have seen the first example. So S attributed definitions can be evaluated by bottom-up scan or post-order traversal. Bottom-up scan of that particular tree or tree structure or post-order traversal. You know what is that? And if it is an inherited attribute, so inherited attributes cannot be computed by simply a pre-order traversal. You may have to do the topological sort on that dependency graph. So we shall see the example of dependency graph. Now, this was the example we have just seen. Now this is the given statement. Real ID, ID, ID separated by comma. Now these are the rules, derivation rules 1, 3, 4, 4, 5. So in this way we have derived that statement. So real ID1, ID2, ID3 like that. Now from that derivation we can construct the parse tree like this. You can take the screenshot. So D is giving you TL, T is giving you INT or real. Then L is giving you L comma ID. So you see corresponding representation of tree and production rules. So the sequence of production rules or derivation is followed into development of the or construction of the parse tree or syntax tree. Now I hope you got exactly from derivation sequence we construct the parse tree, from parse tree we construct the AST, and from AST we construct the dependency graph. Now this is what we have seen in previous slide. So these are the L attributed definition. Now let us start building the AST for this parse tree. You can take the screenshot of this. You can take the screenshot of this. So this could be the AST. Now, how to calculate, how to understand the evaluation order? As I told you, if there are the inherited attributes, then you have to consider parent as well as siblings of that particular node. So perhaps this is a double. I'm repeating the slide. Now anyway, this is the homework. You take the screenshot. Two statements are there. You have to construct the SDD. SDD is given in the slide. And you have to construct the parse tree as well as AST for that parse tree, from that parse tree. And then you have to evaluate that sentence from the AST. हमने पिछली बार देखा था 16 was there. So this is one homework exercise. This is second. See, this is sample HDD. See, inherited attributes are there in a semantic rules part. Then this is a sample AST, annotated parse tree. Attributes are since the inherited attributes are there and their values are given there. And see, you take the screenshot of this. Later in next session we shall discuss about it. Now see, from this AST we have generated the dependency graph. Now see, dotted lines are there. So dotted lines are representing actual tree structure, and the solid lines with arrows are representing dependency graph. So what I want to say is that from AST you generate the dependency graph, and the numbers are given like 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. Means numbers are given. It is the sequence. It is order or sequence by which you are visiting the nodes, all the nodes of the graph. See, please note, these numbers are representing the sequence or order of visiting the nodes. मतलब आप क्या करते हैं, पहले नोड को विजिट करते हैं, उसको कैलकुलेट करते हैं, दूसरे नोड को विजिट करते हैं, डिपेंडिंग ऑन सेमेंटिक रूल वहां पे कैलकुलेट करते हैं. So this is the order of evaluation. This is the order of calculations. So arrows are given 1, 3. So see here, where is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this way you are traversing that tree. So see the arrows starting from 1, 3, 5, then 6, then 7, then 8 and 9. Then you are starting from 2 to 4 and 4 to 6, and then 6 to 7, 7 to 8 and 8 to 9. So in this way you are calculating values to the root. So lastly you are computing 9. Sorry, 9th is the order. Value will be 3 into 5 will be 15 on the root. So this is how. Now here what we are not only simply computing the values, we are also computing the type also. So luckily here almost all the nodes are integer type, so that is not a problem. But there can be some situation where some variables might be integer, some might be boolean, some might be some other, and somewhere you are using them in some expression, you might be doing some conversion from integer to float or something like that. So how to do that? So you have to follow the dependency graph, or you have to traverse the dependency graph by doing the, so you can call this as a topological sort. We shall see later in a next example that how to draw exactly the dependency graph from AST and how to evaluate the, or how to get the evaluation order. So thank you very much for listening me. I hope you have taken the screenshot. You send me the screenshot of this slide so that I will understand that everybody is getting slide. It is visible to everyone. And whatever the names I announced, tell them to form the groups as early as possible today itself before evening. So thank you very much. So maybe in next 1 or 2 sessions we can finish this unit. So I am stopping here.